Hi, everyone. So, when a company goes through an pivotal juncture, especially a legacy company who's had a lot of equity in the market, goes through a brand overhaul for various reasons. It could be the fact that they are going through a change in their business model, or they are going in for an acquisition or a merger, or they're actually setting a different path for their business as well. When that happens, typically they will look for a brand overhaul, and as a part of that exercise, the entire website needs to do a lot of heavy lifting in terms of communicating what the brand is all about, what is the new stand. In this exercise, I'd like to take you through a recently done project, which is for a company called TLH. They were previously known as Tatva Legal Hyderabad, and again, they were at a juncture where they were looking to expand into newer markets, and hence they required an entire rebranding. And the website became like a really key piece of communication to be able to elevate that entire brand perception and to be able to sort of set the stage for their growth as well. So if you look at the landing section, it says strategize, solve, sustain, which is their key value proposition to their clients. This is their methodology, and that's what makes them really unique in terms of the way they operate. So this set methodology, it was important to call it out right at the homepage landing, because in the first 5 seconds that a client comes onto the website, they must know, what these people bring to the table. If you look at the top ticker, which says previously Tatva Legal Hyderabad, that kind of connects it back to all the equity that they've carried forward, and any of their clients, which are their old clients, should not have any reservations in terms of who they are, whether it's a completely new entity or whether they still happen to be the same entity with a different name. That connection needed to be established. So putting it as a ticker on top was like a very strategic decision in terms of ensuring that the all the old equities also carried through on the landing. If you look at the imagery in the background and the videos playing, they sort of connote like a urban landscape, which is where primarily the clientele of this company is. It's supposed to be like a very scaled up, very premium, and at the same time with a lot of gravitas to be able to put across that they work across markets and they are working in the urban corporate sector. And that establishment was also very, very important right at the landing. So you can see that this is the landing that we've created for them. As I scroll further, the next part of the website showcases the entire practice areas. Now, these practice areas, we've only given the names of the practice areas because one practice area need not necessarily be connected to the other. So we just wanted to show the range of the entire, all the services they're offering in the different segments that they're offering it without making too much information to take on. Hence, you can see that they are very just simply put names, and one can, if they want to read further, they can actually sort of with this arrow move into the section that they're specifically looking for. Going further, I think in the law space, just to have a clearer understanding of the segment that we are working with, in the law space, we cannot advertise. There are a lot of restrictions and guidelines that we need to follow through. However, one of the things that bring in a lot of trust and credibility to a company is the fact that they have awards and recognition. So the whole idea was to show each award very strategically as just one piece and then kind of scroll through it so that the person registers the kind of awards that they've got. And the whole design was made to look like a plaque, which is what you get when you actually get an award. You get a plaque with the award on it. So the whole idea was to emulate that, but in our language. It's typically not a practice in law firm websites that you see to put the partner companies that they work with. And this company was willing to take a bold stand where they would put their partner logos out there, of course, with their permission, to be able to establish the range of work they've done across the segments that they have done it in. And it was a very unusual stand to take, but they nevertheless went with it. And from the strategy exercise that we did with them as we were doing the verbal identity with them, we kind of identified that this move would give them that ahead of the curve advantage. So the whole idea was to actually make them look like they were bold enough to make that stand, and then finally we went with it. The news and the insight section is to bring in the thought leadership that the company has. And essentially, in this law space, it's very important that you are constantly innovating yourself, you're constantly keeping yourself updated on the regulations that are coming in. And the whole idea was to ensure that they were in the forefront of it, and the news and the insights kind of brought that alive within the homepage itself. A large function of the website was also to attract talent, and talent not just from a standpoint of just attracting anybody and everybody, but to make it a little more aspirational in nature. So if you look at the imagery that we've played with here and the kind of background that we've worked with, the whole idea was to make it look very aspirational, very sophisticated, and wanting young people who really have the who have the drive in them to be able to apply for this kind of a company, and not just everyone. um, Lastly, if you see this segment, it's also, as I spoke earlier, that the whole idea was that this company was expanding and it was growing, and not just from the Andhra and Telangana region where they currently are, but also into areas like across in pan India, across various regions, including Karnataka. So the whole idea was to make it look like they have a presence across the globe, and to simulate where they are. So if you see the interaction here, it kind of pins down to where they actually are, showing their addresses. But on the outside, when you looked at it without this, it just shows the entire globe itself. So the whole idea was to also establish the scale of the company and the fact that it's growing. Hence, the globe was shown in the first go, and then we go into specifics of each region that they are in. Moving to one of the very key pages, which is the About Us page, which gives you an overview of the entire company and what their ethos is. Here again, what we have done is to really focus on the methodology that they work with, and to bring that alive. So if you look at the verbal identity and the way we've played with the words, we've kept it quite crisp and pragmatic, because that was the tone that was decided on the brand level. So it's a four-word play which says strategic partners, trusted advisors, but also we have crafted what the TLH way is and why it is different from working with, say, another law firm. So if you go here, you see the fact that they also tell you very clearly who they are and who they are not. And I think the establishing of who they're not and who they are puts a lot of things in perspective for clients, and how what to expect from them and how they would like to work with them. um, so in a sense, it's a crisp manifesto that comes alive on the website, which again is a huge trust building, credibility building factor, to elevate the entire brand experience from not just being any brand, but having their own methodology and owning a space of their own as well. You can see the values have been uh, listed here as well. And we've taken the whole idea of the strategize, solve, sustain, and reiterated it across various pages, just to ensure that there's a recall in the way they're operating, and if there is a recall for the client who's visiting the entire website. Moving into the leadership, which I think is a really key section for the entire website. So the law space, if we understood the entire dynamics of the space, works a lot on the people who run the firm and the leadership behind it. And here again, we have custom done these pictures, as in it was custom done photography with an entire mood board on deciding how to light these people and how would we want them to sit in this framework. The whole idea was to keep a really uniform look and feel for the entire leadership, as well as going back to the brand language and the entire dark mode that we're working with. Their photographs also need to fit into that theme. So that was the idea behind it. Um, Here's how each individual person's page looks. Again, we have categorized the information very easy, so it can be studied on a glance, as well as if somebody wants to read it in detail, it's always available. But the whole idea was to give everyone a glimpse of who Shailendra is, for example. And if we want to read more and we want to know more about his credibility, then we can go ahead and read here. This is a really simple blog page. Here we've kept it very no nonsense, very pragmatic again, going with the entire look and feel of the website. And again, the whole idea was to always be on top of mind by releasing new blogs and new pieces of news, so that it always looks current, and it always looks like every time you come back here, you have something new to sort of see and learn from. So, in a nutshell, if I had to put down what really worked for them here was the new stand as a brand that they were taking was kind of launched on the website, because the website became like really a tool to elevate their entire brand experience. The look was meant to be distinct and very different from a very safe landscape. So the entire law landscape is very safe. The kind of colors that they use, the kind of look and feel. This was kind of different from that, especially the neon color that you see here, which we've used as the brand color and the highlight color, was clearly an indicator that they're brave, they have something fresh to say. But at the same time, if you see the entire look and feel, it's very corporate and grounded and premium, which works for their clientele.